Hello, everybody, and welcome to Overwatch PIT NA Playoffs. We are here with Selfless Gaming versus Faze Clan BO3 to start things off. I'm Ask Joshy, casting with Storm. How you doing today, Storm?
A little iffy. Not doing too well on the voice today, but hopefully we can make it through our three series we have today. Josh, you really looking forward to seeing this first one, Selfless and Faze. I think we're gonna have a good one on our hands here.
All right, Selfless and Faze. Obviously, Selfless came out of their group in first place, and Faze exited their group in fourth, and that's how seeding works, and that's how they ended up as this first match of the playoffs. So Faze will have probably a difficult time today. Selfless have seemed pretty much unbeatable up in their recent history. So they've taken numerous weekly cups. This is one of the bigger events that they've actually gotten to participate in for some super big cash, and now they are just still beating up on everybody who they come up against. So FaZe Clan, they're going to start things out here on defense on King's Row. This map specifically, we know that Selfless can be pretty harsh on, so what do you think, FaZe? What do you think they'll need to do to even have a chance here?
I mean, you're going up against Selfless, so you got to come prepared in knowing how to deal, I think, with some of the threats, specifically from Sinatra and Dufresne, of course. So if they're not able to deal with some of those guys, they're going to have a really, really tough time here because FaZe barely made it even out of the group stage, or because they won, I believe, against Tempo Storm in their final match. That gave them the edge to get out. So they looked a little rough there in the group stage, but going up against Selfless here, I think this is going to be a whole nother beast from anyone else they played in their groups other than Rogue. So I think they're going to have their hands pretty full, Joshy.
Well, yeah, we've got just to go over some results from those groups. FaZe did have to play against Rogue, Team Liquid, Luminosity. They're all still in the playoffs, and they bested You Guys Get Paid and Tempo Storm. We talked a little bit about those matches, but at this point, we're basically just waiting for the teams to both ready up. We're all here in the lobby, so any moment now we'll be able to fire into the first match of the day. We also have Team Liquid versus Rise Nation as our second semifinal of the day, and then, excuse me, that's actually a quarterfinal, and then we're going to go into the first semifinal between the winners of those two BO3s, and we're doing that because it only requires 4 teams to show up today instead of 8 playing through the entire quarterfinals at once, and it just makes it a little bit easier on everybody. But both teams have now given the ready up, so hopefully we can just jump right in, and now we will enter our first game.
Yeah, I also hear that Rise Nation are going to be sporting a new tank tonight.
Oh.
I'm under the impression that he is a trial. It's actually Primo Dolce, who used to play for Nameless. So supposedly he is actually trialing for these guys tonight. That should be interesting, I'd have to say, for that next quarterfinal matchup. But like you said, we're going to be heading to Kings Row first, and both teams ready to go here.
Okay, so FaZe defending first, Selfless will be attacking. We've all come to know and love that Selfless comp of basically Reinhardt, Roadhog, Soldier, Tracer, Ana, Lucio. Each of the players on Selfless kind of specialize on those heroes, and obviously they've shown the power of it, and lots of other teams have actually tried to adapt it to their own needs as well. And it looks like on the defense starting out here for FaZe, we'll be going with double tank and, oh, actually triple tank with Shadowburn on the Soldier. He did actually have Genji there for a moment, but they're going to swap it up. Triple tank Soldier, obviously Soldier on the high ground can be a great source of damage on any of these incoming attackers, but Selfless still just kind of flipping around characters. I'm sure they'll end up on that standard 6 that we see out of them time after time.
Yeah, I don't imagine we'll see anything different from these guys. Dufresne probably not going to play the Torbjorn, so he'll move over to the 76, and that's pretty much exactly what they're going to run. So FaZe, honestly, at this point, I'd say looking out for early picks is probably their best way to get started, Yoshi. Because if they get picked off by Mong to get things started, or Sinatra flanking their healers in the back line, then it's going to be a rough start, I think, for Kings Row on the side of FaZe Clan.
All right, well, I'm going to start off watching Sinatra here on the Tracer. He's got a few different routes that he can take. It looks like he's just going to loop around the statue for now and slowly proceed toward that back line. Obviously, Soldier on that high ground is pretty much a given at this point, so Sinatra is going to know exactly where to find Shadowburn. Trying to get him knocked out of the window there, but Shadowburn holds his ground and actually fends him off. Mikey A getting very low on the Diva suit here. Back on the point, Forsaken is going to get taken out by Dufresne's Soldier, and that battle is now raging inside the apartments. Diva's kind of pinched here between 2 attackers, but back out on the point, it looks like they are starting to stand their ground, Selfless.
Yeah, Kresnik's actually under a lot of pressure. He's finally going to be taken down there, coming out there from IGA. So this is a decent start, I'd have to say, from Faze. Despite that, pulse bomb's out there, not able to find any kills, Joshy, but they are going to be pushed all the way back. Imong finds the pit there with the hook, barely keeping himself alive. They actually used the nano boost as well into Fact Fiction, trying to keep this one alive, but they are at a severe disadvantage numbers-wise.
Well, actually, it seems that they're kind of grouped up now. They've got both tanks, both supports here. Earthshatter gets dropped, but gets no effect for it. Fact Fiction in there just swinging away. It does ward them off of the point. A single tick was secured here by Selfless already, but it looks like Tracer actually catching the nano boost, but then gets pinned there by Fact Fiction. We've got bodies just dropping left and right here, but Faze are still near the point they could contest.
They are going to be able to do that. I think the nano boost was actually meant for DeFran, who had the tactical visor out there. So maybe a bit of a miss hit there from Michael 3D, but an extremely extended long team fight coming out there from the side of Selfless. Eventually do secure that checkpoint for themselves, though. Quite a few ultimates using that one.
Sinatra here with the pulse bomb actually darts forward. He's looking for the pulse bomb on the high ground, but actually can't get the sticky. Soldier and Anna, either one of them would have been a great target to actually remove from the equation here, but it looks like Selfless are just going to get aggressive off of it and continue to push the cart with just a single person. There's a nano boost being used very early on Shadowburn, actually. I guess they figured they had enough targets there. They could make use of 2 ultimates, but really they only kill off Michael 3D, and the cart still has barely moved. So this is a really awkward second stretch so far.
And Mikey A is taken down as well. Remember, Kresnik is the one actually sitting on the payload right now. So any picks they can get is big, but they keep dropping. And honestly, they can't find a way to get around them. Now DeFran popping his stack visor into the sound barrier coming out there from Forsaken. But Sinatra was actually dropped as we see the Graviton Surge coming out there for Faze as well.
Selfless's DeFran has actually been kind of in the back line. He used his tactical visor there and didn't get too much damage out, but did secure a kill or 2. Fact Fiction here with the Earthshatter for Faze all the way back on the cart. Just mopping up now. Kresnik and Michael 3D both go down, and Faze have complete control over the cart right past the first corner. That's actually very surprising for how we saw the first point into the second transition there.
Yeah, a lot of teams actually struggle with, kind of putting a halt to the payload. Selfless really struggling to find the picks that they are normally actually used to getting. Like you had mentioned, a pretty solid regroup from Faze. Pretty much allowed them to find the pick on the DeFran as well as a well-timed sound barrier. But they're looking to move in off this. Fact Fiction ready to go with the Earthshatter.
All right, sounds like Pulse Bomb actually went off there, but nothing showing in the kill feed, so Sinatra must not have been successful. Watching Fact Fiction here up on the cart itself. Potential for a big Earthshatter, but he drops it into the shield. Thankfully, he did catch Sinatra off on the side. Kresnik is going to get the nano boost here and start going crazy with Reinhardt. He's got a Zarya that he can bash down, and that's 4 kills very rapidly there for Selfless on the attack. As they mop up Forsaken, that is going to be another checkpoint secured and a little bit more time added here for the final stretch.
And the even bigger thing, Josh, is the fact they didn't have to use that tactical visor from DeFran. They used the nano boost, but tac visor is still ready to go from DeFran. Might be able to find a couple of picks as soon as they can get that shield down from Fact Fiction, but they're now as a group looking for something here. As Iman comes through with a nice hook there onto Diva, almost takes him out of the mech to get things started.
Imong does launch his whole hog ultimate, breaks Mikey A's suit in the process. He's just blasting away now at Reinhardt's shield as the sound barrier comes out. DeFran is going to get some use out of his tactical visor, trying to find Shadowburn on the soldier, but good use of LOS keeps him alive. Mikey A and Fact Fiction both down now. That means no tanks, and the cart is being stalled up actually by a single Lucio. Forsaken gets popped and sent back to spawn, and Selfless are all here. They've got no ults, but Kresnik is very close to a shatter.
And they almost have that tag visor, or excuse me, nano boost as well from Michael 3D. There's a Graviton Surge coming out. Pulse Bomb sticks from Sinatra, picks up the kill on the Zombs, and that Graviton Surge from Zombs himself didn't really find much use, unfortunately, Joshy. And just like that, Selfless could be able to mop this up and take Kings Row on offensively.
Man, that was just beautifully done. 3 minutes and 9 seconds left on the clock. They got kind of gummed up in the second stretch, trying to get aggressive with it, but after that, it was pretty much free and clear for them to finish the entire map. So Faze made a couple of switches, I think maybe 1 or 2 across the entire course of the map, but honestly, they never really had a great stop. It was just kind of bits and pieces given to them after that first point was secured. So Faze not looking too great on the defense. Selfless obviously have their stuff together, so we know that they're a very powerful team. Faze are going to be on the hook now to try and basically just finish the map with any amount of time left to be able to contend for extra rounds.
Yeah, that one hold in the streets phase, that was just Selfless, honestly, not finding the picks. And then once they were able to come through with a few big ultimates to secure the second checkpoint, they pretty much just steamrolled them right there. So FaZe Clan really going to need to turn it up a notch here on offense if they want to even remotely match 309 Joshi. But I think it all starts with this first push. If we see Selfless start to find picks right away and make a stop to the first push, I think this is going to look really good for them to be able to win this first map rather quickly.
Well, we'll see. Obviously, they have a chance now to rebut, and we've seen Shadowburn, obviously, time and time again on the Genji, so much so that people are saying that Shadowburn was Genji IRL, but Soldier is going to be the tool of choice, actually, for the attack this time. 20 seconds left before doors open, and we're seeing Selfless all posted up on their usual characters here. Dafran is actually going to be playing the high ground on the apartment, as you expect to see. Selfless, Sinatra, actually all the way up in the front door, just waving at the enemy at the moment.
Okay, let's see what they can get done here, and see if this Selfless strategy is going to go through Joshi. Oftentimes you see it always work for them, so we'll see if that's going to be the case here. As I'm looking at Imong to come up with some big picks again, as well as the Fran, but this is the first hook. Honestly, Selfless Gaming, honestly, to get started here, look at the positioning as well. Sinatra coming around with a nice flank, might be able to find this first pick.
Yeah, I actually had the cam on Sinatra there trying to find Anna very quickly, but he kind of gave up on it after she grabbed the full heal, and it's going to be Mikey A and Fact Fiction actually the first casualties here. Michael 3D, the defending Anna, gets taken out as well, and Shadowburn is actually still just all the way back at the choke with the rest of FaZe here after losing just a single Anna. It looks like they've thought better about trying to push in further. Mikey A is going to lose his life as well, so at least he can get the Diva Suit back here.
And those are those early picks that I was talking about. They're able to just shut down that first push, already putting them into a better position than, the other way around when Selfless were there. So 3 minutes remaining, that one push coming through, no ults to work with, but Sinatra nearing that full spot.
Watching Dafran now leap onto the statue itself, but still keeping the attackers at bay. Shadowburn actually falls quite low. Forsaken and Raucus both going to actually be taken out there. Tank's not close enough to the supports to actually keep them alive. Sinatra and actually Fact Fiction getting a double kill there is kind of interesting, but will it be enough to actually give them the momentum here that they need?
We'll see how fast they can get back to the point. Both tanks coming off of respawn here. They do have the whole hog to work with as well. Dafran now with attack visor. He's going to go and drop this one. No nano boost, unfortunately, but Shadowburn comes around the corner. He finds 2 picks for themselves in FaZe Clan now with an opportunity to secure the first checkpoint.
Both soldiers do get a little bit of value for their ultimates, but Selfless, of course, are on the back foot here. Kresnik is under half health, and they're all just kind of lighting into him at this point. First tick is secured, almost to the second before Lucio bounces on there. Dak is not going to last too long. There's Emong actually launching a whole hog ultimate from out in the streets. That doesn't seem like optimal value there. Fact Fiction going to get the kill on Lucio earlier means that they will secure the point. 4.5 minutes here for the second stretch. We've got Selfless posting up again. No switches made or anything like that. Sinatra still just poking away at FaZe, not letting them press up.
Oh, but there's a nice hook coming out there from Imog, able to find the flank on a Shadowburn. And interesting how FaZe is actually trying to play a little aggressive like we see from Selfless, but they're going to be forced to back off because they lost Shadowburn here. There's a Shatter coming out from Kresnik to get things started.
Shadowburn's going to start firing into Sinatra quickly to try and take him out, but Soundbarrier actually saves his life. Nano boost onto Shadowburn as he starts just laying into Reinhardt. Actually cannot get the kill thanks to some good healing from his own side. Dafran actually is going to be still in the mix. Sinatra, Emong gathering up a couple kills there, and FaZe are going to get sent back to spawn. They've actually got the numbers advantage here. Shadowburn plants a nice Helix rocket to get the kill onto Dafran, but Selfless are still in control of the cart.
Yeah, they are in control of pretty much the spawn as well, Joshi. Mikey A is trying to get away from this one, finding an extremely late kill there. Still 3:25 to work with, plenty of time, but they're going to have a rough time, I think, getting past this Selfless defense.
Shadowburn's got a tactical visor going toward the high ground with the rest of his team now as well, so actually he's probably going to pop it up here in the high hallway so he can get views of both sides of the street. Dafran finally returning to battle from his spawn. Pulse Bomb goes off, nothing gained for it, but the cart itself still has not moved. Shadowburn has looked all the way around the side here, but Emong is up in his face now. Still might have some ultimates flying here. Whole Hog is going to go out. Sounds like a nano boost as well. There's Dafran with the nano visor actually getting gummed up by Diva, but still gets a lot of value out of it. Mikey A ends up going down in the process.
Yeah, Shadowburn as well used his tack visor, but unfortunately wasn't able to get any value out of it because on the low ground, we saw Defran with the nano visor, so he couldn't peek his head around the corner. Defran was just kind of sitting on that one. But like you had said, they did lose a couple of guys here from Selfless. So the real question is, do they want to continue with this pressure or just back off? It looks like they're going to go ahead and just die off here and look for a full reset.
And Faze are, pretty much in control here. Fact Fiction's already pressed all the way up, trying to catch any returning stragglers here, but the cart is finally free and clear of Selfless people. Defran is still actually in the area, being a nuisance, and Fact Fiction did spot him, so Faze are aware that this soldier's up here. Looks like Mikey A is going to go and try and deal with him now. Defran actually fell a little bit low on health. Can he survive a 2v1 here? No.
Ooh, not going to be the case. So we do see Mon come through there, finds a pick for his squad. So even so, if they're going to look to move into this fight as a 5-on-5. Shatter comes down there from Prezi. He completely whiffs it as the Wombo combo now coming out here from the side of Faze. They get the quad kill there with the self-destruct.
Goodness gracious. I pulled out into third person just to check out all the ults flying, and the Diva explosion was right front and center. Excellent job there from Mikey A to keep this push alive. 90 seconds is not a ton of time. If they had lost that fight, they would really be on the ropes, but the fact is they were able to use a lot of ultimates there to finally break free again. Fact Fiction pushing up all the way to the corner here to prevent this last second contesting from Sinatra, but that's not going to happen. Pulse Bomb actually takes a big chunk out of his shield there. Kresnik falling very low on health. We've got a nano boost out on Kresnik, actually. He falls to the attacker. Shadowburn's going to get a nano boost on his side with 81% toward his ult. He's going to light into Dak as quickly as he can as Lucio goes down. That gives them even more opportunity here. Should be an easy cleanup from this point.
A decent attempt from Selfless to play their aggressive strategy and try to hold there, but just Defran wasn't able to find any picks up top, unfortunately, and Sinatra as well with the pulse bomb to get things started. Didn't find a stick onto, I'd say, a primary target, and wasn't able to find any kills here. But still 210 remaining here for Faze. A couple of ultimates to work with as well. Most notably, Shadowburn is up top here looking for that tack visor.
And I'm glad you called it out. We'll switch right over to him, and as soon as he pops it, he actually gets a Reinhardt shield in his face. I think he got knocked off of the high ground somehow, or just slipped off or something, but he had an advantage and lost it very quickly there. Zoms, wow, actually Defran and Emon going down very quickly there. Shadowburn still just shooting at whatever comes near his way. Sinatra sticks a pulse bomb there to take out Mikey A, and Faze do still have a good number of bodies on the cart. Shadowburn's doing his best to eliminate everything that comes his way.
Yeah, it's a 4-on-2 on the cart right now. Dak and Sinatra still alive. 4 members from Faze cannot deal with the Lucio. They can't deal with the Tracer Joshi, and it's enough time to get the regroup. The Graviton Surge now coming out there from Zoms trying to clean this one up.
But it's really not enough. There's actually still a couple of Selfless people in the neighborhood. Emong there on the Roadhog is a big force. Catching the sound barrier is going to allow the team to basically just mop up what's left of Faze's attack. And Shadowburn and the rest of the crew need to group up once again. They've got 1 minute left with only a couple of ultimates here to work with. Not too much on the side of Selfless to try and slow them down, but this is a very do-or-die push here. And they need to finish with some time just because Selfless had such a blazing fast attack themselves.
Well, they are going to continue to pressure them out. Emong the first to drop here. We'll have to see if they want to back off this pulse bomb. Not able to find anything, unfortunately. He does actually get Mikey out of the mech, but they're going to go ahead and pop this nano visor coming out from Shadowburn. He's looking for some kills behind the Rhyme shield, but he finds absolutely nothing, Justin.
Yeah, that's actually very unfortunate, committing those 2 ultimates for basically no gain. But now Shadowburn is finding a couple of kills here. The nano-boosted Sinatra actually keeps Tracer alive long enough for Selfless to stay in control of the cart. You've got only Reinhardt and Soldier here alone, and they're such low health that the whole hog finisher there is enough to kill them off. 8 seconds left. I don't even know if Mikey A is going to be able to get over here on the Tracer. He gets stopped up by Sinatra's Tracer. 1 second to go. He will contest long enough to start overtime. There comes the sound barrier. Forsaken and Zom seem to be the only ones that benefit from it, and they're already surrounded, so this is not looking too hot for Faze.
Yeah, they only have a few people left on this one. The Shatter and Graviton Surge come out there from Kresnik and Defran. That should seal the deal, Josh, and give map number 1 over to Selfless. Pretty convincing on the offensive side. Defense, a few struggles from Selfless, but they got a pretty solid regroup, at the last couple of minutes of that map, and able to take the first map quite handedly.
Good stuff. Selfless Gaming wins. There it is across your screen. So they're going to go up 1-0 in this best of 3 series. Faze will have the selection of maps, and look at Fact Fiction actually already thrown out the Lijiang Tower Dexing ready already. So
Whoa.
here's yeah, that's efficiency for you. Here's Mikey A's play of the game from his POV. That had to be very satisfying. Did you see the pin into the Reinhardt shield as well for this setup? Good stuff.
And like you had mentioned, they are going to be choosing to go over to Lijiang Tower for the second map. That was like immediate, as if they already knew what they wanted to go with to get things settled in the second game here. And should FaZe lose this, Josh, that means Selfless definitely moving into the semifinals and looking pretty good to get the day started.
All right, so far we've got basically dominance on King's Row. Next up, going to be Lijiang Tower, completely different mode here. That FaZe are going to try and go toe-to-toe with these fraggers on Selfless. Could be a good switch up for them. Shadowburn should be able to at least run wild with Genji here if he wasn't able to on King's Row. I don't know. Maybe he's not feeling the Genji anymore. Maybe Soldier's just too necessary at this point. We'll have to see. As we are going to just fire right into game number 2. Both teams did say ready, so in just a moment we will be back into the action. Zom's confirming that he's ready. All right, so switching modes here, switching maps. Do you think FaZe have any chance of contending with Selfless? Did you see any glimmers in that previous game?
Honestly, I don't think Control Point really lends to Selfless's style of play. So I think when they move to this, move to King of the Hill maps or Control Point maps, if you will, I think that teams have a little bit better of a shot, especially since they don't have to deal with spawn camping, I guess, entirely. I mean, you can camp it, but I think it's a little bit easier for a team on King of the Hill to get a regroup and get out of that situation. So that being said, I feel like FaZe, they have an okay shot here. I wouldn't be surprised to see them take a round, but I don't think honestly, I wouldn't give them a map victory here.
Gotcha. So FaZe still the underdogs for sure. Selfless have shown us many times now that they're able to contend with a lot of these top NA teams. And FaZe, I mean, they got, what, top 3? Actually, didn't they get second place at MLG Vegas back in December? So we haven't really had any like big live North American events. Not a ton of events, I'll say, to actually have these teams prove themselves, but Selfless have been going toe-to-toe with a lot of the teams who do have LAN experience, and I for one am anxious to see Selfless in person one of these days. But as we get the doors open here, it is going to be the Selfless comp versus actually almost a mirror here. Zoms is going to be playing the Zarya to get started, though.
Yeah, Fact Fiction running in there with the charge. Shadowburn, the first to fall here on the Tracer. That's going to allow for Selfless to continue to get aggressive. They lose Kresnik, Joshi, but they are going to continue to press this, and most certainly will come through with the first points.
Zoms goes down there, and that's the third kill, I believe, that Selfless were able to grab up there. So as he gets staggered, it's going to be extra percentage for Selfless. Soldier gets put to sleep long range there, but not too big of a loss as no one's actually in the area to do anything about it. I'm watching Mikey A now on the attacking Roadhog. If he can get a hook combo, perhaps that'll give them an open door onto the point.
The Fran nearing the attack visor, though. There's a hook onto Sinatra. He's getting a little too greedy. Knew he had the pulse bomb to work with. Wanted to move in there and find a stick, but finding that original pick, Joshi, means they can move into this 5-on-6 and look pretty good.
And Mikey is still cruising here as Roadhog. He walks up to the sleeping Emong and just blasts him down. Now he's able to take a breather as Michael 3D goes down. We see that Sinatra on the point, still dancing around everybody. There is Dufran's tactical visor active right now, trying to find some targets. Zoms and Shadowburn, both low enough health that Dufran can get the killing blows there. And they're up to about 50% already. FaZe need to rally here. Even off the kills of Mikey A, they still can't get the point flipped.
Yeah, I think they were getting a little too separated in that last fight because Sinatra just came off a respawn and basically, you know, Mikey A was sitting there allowing him to get deep pulse bombed, and unfortunately there was no one around to do anything about it. There's a Nano Hog though coming out from Mikey A. He gets put to sleep there by Michael 3D. A waste of a couple of ultimates. In the back though, we see Sinatra fall again, getting a little too aggressive.
Yeah, we go back to the waking up Roadhog. He is still getting a lot of damage out, though, and this could be Faze's biggest push yet, as they actually do get through Emong and Kresnik for the first time. They are starting to contest the point. They know that Soldier is around the backside in the server, or maybe even upstairs by now, so they'll have to keep an eye out for that. But Sinatra is going to continue just putting one toe onto the point, keeping Selfless's percentage rising as long as possible.
Yeah, there's a shatter coming out from Fact Fiction. Able to find the kill on the Jack there, though. Like you had mentioned, they're continuing to come back to this one. They're going to force everything out of Faze before they might be able to get the flip here. But at 98%, that's going to be a tough comeback here for Faze.
Well, Emong is going to die right next to the point, but there's barely any Faze people actually here to combat the returning players of Selfless. Thankfully, that kill on Defran actually makes things a lot easier for Faze, and Selfless will need to regroup fully here. But they have a lot of ults ready to try and take this point back with.
That's the thing I had said as well in that last fight. They continue to stagger back to the point, so they force those ultimates out there. Most notably, the sound barrier coming out there from Forsaken, and of course, Fact Fiction as well. But they're going to go ahead and pop everything, I'd imagine, as Stackvisor comes out from Defran. No nano boost to help him out, but still no kills on the board. They still get the flip. They force them all off of the point.
That was a great zoning ult. Even if you don't get any kills, they manage to flip the point back, and that makes things a little bit easier here for the returning Faze players. Mikey A is actually going to get taken out, and Fact Fiction under half health already. Shouldn't be long before Reinhardt goes down as well. Looks like he will. Defran is down to 9 HP and cannot survive Shadowburn's attacking Tracer here. Overtime is going to tick down, though. Shadowburn can't touch the point, and that will be the control center going to Selfless.
Yeah, still 4 people on the point itself, and had a 5th coming back. So even if he had been able to, it would have been a very difficult thing to accomplish to be able to get that flip back in your favor. So a very good start coming out from Selfless. And Josh, you actually do kind of notice they don't play up in your spawn. They just still look for these picks. Sinatra getting picked off a few too many times, I think, there. But even so, you know, they got a pretty big win. It was like 100-32. So
yeah,
clearly those single picks onto Sinatra not making the difference for Faze.
Yeah, I don't know. The first fight that we saw where Mikey A blasted Sinatra down with the Roadhog combo, Sinatra still got back to the fight by the time it was over to drop a pulse bomb on somebody. So Sinatra, you know, if you put him down once, he's already back in the battle by the time the fight is ending, and you just have to stay on top of him. But we've got Mikey A and Ruckus here in the skies above. Farah and Mercy raining some rockets down here. The incoming Selfless team is actually headed through the hallway, and Emong is off of the Roadhog onto Diva this time around. Sinatra is going to be on the Roadhog himself.
Yeah, Sinatra's actually pretty dang good at the Roadhog, so be sure to keep an eye on him. And of course, Defran is on that Zarya. So the quad tank setup coming out here from Selfless. I definitely trust Michael to be able to heal them all, but Dak, the first to fall, not a good start for them. They need to find honest. Joshy, they don't have any real way to deal with this Farah.
Right, Farah's actually pushing out a lot of damage. I wish we could actually just show you how much damage there's been coming out of this damage-amped rocket factory here. Mikey A gets blasted, or excuse me, just blasts everyone down. Sinatra and Emong both get finished off, and Faze will grab the point first this time around. So a little bit of a reversal of the stories this time, thanks to some major switches on either side. But now Defran is headed back over to the Soldier to try and deal with this Mikey A Sky threat.
Honestly, I'm surprised Selfless didn't expect the Farah, or maybe they thought that Sinatra could deal with them along with Michael, and maybe Emong, of course, be able to put up the defense matrix to block some of those. But then Nano Boost coming out onto the Fran. He's in the one-on-one, finds the pick there. Pulse bomb out from Zomzo, able to find one onto Crescent.
Oh wow, but Mercy reses, and Defran just hops around the corner here to try and get another shot off on Farah. On the point, Fact Fiction is going to get a great explosion there, taking out Sinatra and Emong's Diva suit. So nice value there for Faze, 40% now for them, and Selfless are not going to be able to retake this time around. Defran actually might even be too deep here, going after the Mercy. I don't see how he's going to be able to survive all the way back to the bridge. Can he do it? 30 health, but he does get the health back.
He is literally hitting every single shot, but unfortunately they can't come through with the flip just yet. 55% now, and Sinatra coming up with a few big picks there. Should be able to secure the flip here for Selfless, but definitely a solid start for Faze.
That was a massive Helix rocket that Defran just got onto Zoms. I didn't even see the Tracer, actually. It may have been one of those blink into it situations, but Defran just nuking Zom's out of play here, gets them reset even further. Selfless did grab the point over that last engagement. Dufresne has a tactical visor to work with this time. Kresnik also looking for an Earth Shatter here as Mikey A and Raucus are just going to stay in the skies. No switches from them just yet. Barrage could come into play on this fight.
They have attack visor, no nano boost. Dufresne going to go ahead and pop this one into the barrage, so he will be taken down, unfortunately. Still a 1-for-1. They're trying to deal with the Mercy. Raucus going to be taken down before he's able to generate that Resurrect, and Selfless should be able to hold on. They've got the numbers, especially with the big pulse bomb coming out from Sinatra.
Yeah, I got the first-person pleasure there of seeing Winston's ragdoll from the pulse bomb just fling past him, but Kresnik gets a nice Diva suit and kill there. Mikey A is still on the point here. Raucus is going to pop the ultimate to get everyone from Faze back alive. Diva suit's going to go out but not find any kills. Dufresne getting focused very quickly there is the right idea for Faze as they're about to flip the point back. They may be able to get it here. Zoms gets a pulse bomb to help them out. Looks like
that was a big resurrect coming out from Raucus there. Honestly, I think that's what secured it for him. Despite being picked off early, I think that was actually for their benefit, to say the least here. Still, 67%. Faze able to take the lead again here, but this second round definitely much closer than the first one here. Let's see if Selfless can pull this back into favor.
All right, watching Mikey A on the damage-amped Pharah, still trying to kill Dufresne on the way in if he can, but Diva's defense matrix actually saves him potentially there. We've got only one ult on either side, so we're going to see how those come into play in just a moment. Raucus starting to take some fire now as Mercy might fall very quickly in the fight, and he does, so Selfless off to a hot start.
Nano Boost is actually onto Dufresne, who picks up that kill. There's 3 kills on the board now, and that self-destruct from Fact Fiction really not meaning too much for these guys. So despite getting up to 99%, Selfless will be able to pull this one back in their favor and still have a couple of ultimates to work with in the next fight.
Nice stuff. Selfless able to bring it back under their control at 99% for Faze. That means they will have to fend them off basically just a single time here as it's taken them a little bit of time. And Mikey A gets popped from long distance there. The Helix Rocket got just enough damage for him to just finish him off. And now it's definitely going to be final fight time. Raucus with the Resurrection probably going to be a massive component here.
Yeah, Sinatra is most certainly going to be looking, or I guess now Dufresne as well. Attack visor comes out, immediately finds the pick there. Dufresne, surprising Faze. They pick up 2 kills. Sound Barrier's out as well, and Selfless poised to be able to take round number 2.
Man, he made it look so easy there. He was in the perfect position for it. Mikey A is going to try and get the barrage out, but actually gets smacked mid-air there by the Reinhardt hammer, and Selfless still in control. No real opportunity. Raucus is going to pop the res. Maybe? No, he can't get in range of anyone to res before getting knocked on the head himself. So it is going to be Selfless very likely grabbing this, going 2-0.
That's just terrific communication coming out from Selfless, allowing him Mong to actually come through on the side and ensure that he gets the pick onto Raucus's Mercy, denying that combo whatsoever. So definitely a solid start in that, or a solid start for Faze in round number 2, Joshy. But Selfless pulling this one back in their favor. Want to see if Faze can pull the complete reverse sweep. Otherwise, they're going to end up dropping this series.
Well, we're here on the night market, the only point we haven't visited yet. Faze have an opportunity again to try and switch things up if they want to. Shadowburn hovering the Genji very quickly here. I do like the looks of that since they haven't really gone with it just yet. I'm wondering if they just thought, no, there's no chance Genji's going to work against this Selfless team. We need to stay away from it or what. But now they're on the ropes. They're down 0-1 in map score and 0-2 here on Lijiang Tower. So it's time to see what Genji can do.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. That's probably the right decision to go with here. Just see what you can make of it, as we do see Selfless actually stick with the same composition here they were running before. Not sure what that charge was from Fact Fiction, but Selfless, look at the positioning. Definitely in a good spot to find these picks.
Emong's mech down already, but so are Kresnik and Mikey A. Tanks are just getting flopped over at this point, but Faze are starting off on a hot foot here. Sinatra already having to take a breather around the corner there. Faze do have a window of opportunity to try and get in there. If they can just surround Roadhog, he doesn't have his heal up, they should be able to just blow him up. Oh, there he gets it back already. Man, that cooldown short.
But Dufresne has attack visor already. Raucus, though, oh, the flank coming out from Mikey A off of respawn. Finds the pick on Dufresne before he's able to pop that attack visor. They use their nano boost, but FaZe Clan secure the first points here in round number 3.
Good stuff from Faze, securing the point first again. We know that that's not an indicator of who's going to win the round, though, as Selfless were able to battle back last time. Dufran just narrowly misses the Helix Rocket onto Mikey A's Roadhog, but they're going to take a different entrance route instead. Dufran popping the Tactical Visor from the high ground, looking for Shadowburn, finds it very quickly, now gets the Nano Boost just for the tail end of the ultimate, but he's still got a lot of time on it to try and pump damage into Reinhardt's shield. It's almost broken there, and Emong tries to take a swing with the hook, but can't find anything. Graviton Surge is going to get used. It looked like Earthshatter also came out there from Fact Fiction, and FaZe will hang on to the point, but they used a lot to get it done.
Yeah, that was a lot used. Thankfully, they're able to actually hold on to Shadowburn and Forsaken's ultimate. Still Sinatra messing around on the point. He is going to be able to get to safety here as Dufran is dropped pretty late out in the front by Zoms here. So still 50% is going to be on the board. Much more than that, I'd have to say, especially with that late pick coming out onto Sinatra.
All right, Shadowburn bouncing off the walls here, and so far it's a pretty good indicator that Genji's still okay here. 55% against 0 for FaZe, and he hasn't even used his Dragon Blade yet. This is an opportunity for him to do so. Ruckus has the Nano Boost ready to go. He jumps into the air, slices right down onto Dak's head, and secures that Lucio kill. Unfortunately, not too much for him to swing at. By the end of the blade, he only gets one more slice, but Emong does go down as a result, and the two ultimates do get what they were looking for. 80%-ish for FaZe now, as Selfless are going to have to regroup and return.
And Selfless just not looking like themselves here. They do have a lot of ultimates to work with, though, in this next team fight, Joshy. So I'm looking for Dufran to come up big again. But they're going to have to be very careful about Mikey A coming through with these flank again. And it looks like Shadowburn is up against Dufran. Dufran finds that pick, pops attack visor. Probably not the best timing. Didn't really know where the rest of FaZe was. And that's going to be, I'd say, a wasted ultimate coming out from him.
Well, they have about 2 seconds left to try to get on the point. So I think it was just kind of desperation mode. You're right, though. He went in blind after killing off Shadowburn there. But it's a good thing he won the duel, because now FaZe are in full control. And Dufran's kind of their last hope for Selfless to try and get onto the point. He goes down. And FaZe seem to have pulled a nice reversal here on the night market.
I did expect them to be able to at least take one round here, but that's a big difference from rounds 1 and 2. 99-0 coming out there from FaZe Clan. Impressive play coming out from and not even just Shadowburn on the Genji. I mean, the rest of the team. It's not like he solo carried that fight by any means.
Right.
So. Especially since his Dragon Blade was only able to find 1 kill for himself when he got the Nano Boost. And I think that's the only Dragon Blade we saw from him, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So yeah, FaZe probably going to be sticking with the same composition. Worked out pretty well.
Yeah, he died with it in hand in the first big battle, where you're saying it was a good thing they got to save it, and then he just didn't need it for a while until afterwards. He tried to duel Dufran and actually very nearly pulled off a masterful Helix Rocket deflect into dash kill, but Dufran lived with like 10 HP and actually managed to turn it around and get the kill for himself. But we have another round here, round 4, out on the Garden level again. This is where FaZe last time ran the Pharah Mercy, this time going for the complete switch up and running the same thing they ran on Market.
We'll see. I'm actually pretty surprised that Emong is actually sticking with the Diva rather than going back to that Roadhog he plays so much of here. But a little bit of a skirmish going on the side here. Shadowburn taking a little bit of pressure from Sinatra here. There's a nice bio grenade, though, hitting Fact Fiction. He's the first to fall.
Watching Sinatra now fall to only 30 HP, but the rewind does allow him to stay alive. He actually gets a finishing blow on Forsaken as well. Shadowburn goes down trying to get out of the window, and now suddenly only Roadhog is here as he falls. Zoms is going to be there with about 10 HP on Zarya, and that's a clean sweep for Selfless. I'm not sure they lost anybody. If they did, they're already back in the battle, so Selfless taking a very, very distinctive fight in the opener here.
They did lose the Diva mech, so Emong needs to get this rather quickly here at 50%. Doesn't want to move into this fight without it, but of course they have so many ultimates. Pulse Bomb coming out from Sinatra, though, finds Ruckus in the back. That will help Emong actually come through with this mech before the next team fight ensues.
Man, that's great for Selfless. Really nice momentum shift there as FaZe really can't go in anymore. They're actually all posted up on the high ground in this hut, and Dufran is just keeping an eye on them from the bridge, able to do that scouting and lets the rest of his team know where they're at. Now, FaZe have finally gotten grouped up here, so we'll switch over to them. Shadowburn's got a Dragon Blade with that Nano Boost potential here.
Still tactical visor ready to go here from the Fran. That's going to be Nano Visor actually coming out to get things started, trying to press behind Fact Fiction Shield. He's under a lot of pressure. He's actually going to be taken down. They lose Imong in the process, but now we're going to see the Nano Blade come out from Shadowburn.
Shadowburn slice, and he gets 2 with 1 swipe, I think. Dak and Defran both down. Michael 3D is a 3rd kill there. So FaZe are able to march onto the point. Kresnik's under half HP, so it shouldn't take long for them to secure that kill as well. Pulse Bomb goes flying out, does not find what it's looking for there from Sinatra, but Selfless are still in control, 71%, and FaZe really having a tough time getting the cleanup here. Kresnik's still standing. Finally, he goes down.
Mong, though, ready to go. No, he's actually immediately taken out of the mech. As I say that, he's one of the lone targets there. Dak is actually back in the mix. They're going to try to hold this to 99 as best they can. Maybe force out some of these ultimates from FaZe, but they should know they do not need these to clean up the fight.
It's interesting that Selfless got it all the way up into the 90s now. They could even lose the fight group 1 time and come back with a strong chance of taking it. Sinatra falls to 2 HP but doesn't have rewind, so he will go down to that whole hog ultimate. Mikey A just pouring out the damage, 99% as FaZe finally get the flip. That was like an incredibly extended fight. They could have grabbed it at like 65% or 70 maybe.
Yeah, if they had done that, though, it would have been at the cost of some ultimates, and now they have 5 ultimates to work with in this next fight. Pretty similar to what we see from Selfless, actually only ready to go with 3 of them. So FaZe have a decent opportunity here to try to battle their way back into this one. Sinatra looking for the flank if you can find a pick here.
Divasuko's flying out here. Zombs is going to use the Graviton Surge. How did Forsaken get killed by Emong's suit? That is... He had so much time, actually, to dodge that and still managed to go down. He must have been pinched by someone else, but the Zarya Graviton Surge actually doesn't get a ton of kills. Defran's Tac Visor actually finding more value than what FaZe got out of theirs. So Selfless are going to actually get every kill there moving in and will flip the point, triggering overtime. Lucio's the only person even close by, and he's not even going to be able to touch.
And that's going to secure the 2-0 quarterfinal series here for Selfless. Joshi, I'd say kind of what we expected going into this matchup, just given their group stage performances. But of course, that's not totally going to eliminate FaZe. I believe they would take on the loser between our next match, which is going to be Rise and Liquid. So congrats to Selfless. Impressive series.
Shadowburn, Winston actually getting play of the match. I didn't even notice this happening, but it was also while Mikey A was just pouring rockets down on people. So I guess it's easy to miss those eliminations like that. But he was barely on Winston. I think he was only on him for like half the round in the first time they were on Garden. But Defran showing his value there on Soldier, as always, 31k damage, 32% of the team's total. But that is going to go ahead and wrap up our first series of the day, our first BO3. And as we get a look at what the next match is, it's going to be Team Liquid versus Rise Nation. So what do you think about that matchup coming up?
I think this next matchup is going to be a lot closer. I think Rise Nation is a bit of a wild card heading into this match, especially with a new component in Primo Dolce, who is a main tank. But he's actually in a really, really good tank. My question is how well he's going to mesh with the other members of Rise rather than his individual skill, which is easily up there with most, top Reinhardts, if you ask me, from seeing him over the past several months of playing with Nameless. So looking forward to seeing what he's able to do with Rise Nation, but I think we're going to have a much closer series on our hand.
Yeah, you and I have had the pleasure of casting Dolce a few times, but who is he replacing, actually, for Rise's roster?
I believe it's...
Would it be Desro?
Yeah, it'd be Desro.
Oh, okay.
I believe. I mean, that's he didn't confirm that, but I'm just under the assumption that would be who it is, since main tank for main tank.
Yeah,
so
we're gonna find out.
We'll see if that's actually gonna hold through. Yeah, we'll find out in a few minutes.
All right, guys, don't go anywhere. Team Liquid versus Rise Nation, like I said, going to be our next best of 3. It's another quarterfinal here for the NA playoffs of Overwatch PIT. Don't go anywhere. We're going to show our sponsors some love right now and show off some of their products that you guys can purchase yourselves. So we'll be right back with the second quarterfinal of the day.